Good morning from the office, North Georgia's only live online morning show. I'm your host, BKP. We're coming to you this morning live from overtop downtown Ellijay. What do you think? This is the city of Ellijay this morning we're looking at. Coming to you live. Did you have a nice weekend? If you would like to send us a picture of your beautiful town or North Georgia mountains or something beautiful in your area, send it to 706-889-9700 or email it. Email us a picture at chief@fetchernews.com and we may use it for our morning broadcast background. So email it to us. Good morning from the office. We got a lot to go over this morning. I'm checking some text messages. Do us another favor. We've added a lot of brand new stuff. We've added a lot of brand new stuff to the broadcast. So if you're out there, you are our technical department. Send us an email, chief@fetchernews.com or 706-889-9700, and let us know audio, how our commercials are playing, some of the things we got going on. So, just please help us out here. And we're glad to be back this Monday morning. We were up at the shops at Sycamore Crossing. We were glad to be up there. Did some great segments up there. I did a great segment Friday, that I really enjoyed doing with Dale Jackson and Melissa Searcy and Rick Searcy about medical marijuana. So we're going to be working on that because I want to get, I guess, the truth. I heard a testimony from parents that said their daughter's seizures went from 80 a day down to 3 with the hemp oil. So we're going to be following that more throughout the months. But again, I just got one text message say it looks awesome. So thank you very much. Okay, let's get this Monday morning started. We got a lot to do. The Pickens County Jail was really full Friday night. We'll go over that in a minute. We've got 3 indictments we want to talk about from Friday night. Christopher Mark Miller, also Mr. Mark Thomason, and Russell Stuckey. We're going to talk about all 3 of those cases a little bit. College World Series is set, starts tonight. I'm going to give you the reason. I'm not anti Major League Baseball. I'm not anti-Major League Baseball, I promise you, okay? But Lenny Dykstra, I've seen on the top of the New York Post this morning, Lenny Dykstra is coming out with a tell-all. He's spilling the beans, how steroids made him a star, earning millions. They tell me that the Major League Baseball has cleaned itself up and so on and so forth, but, I'm not against MLB. But I like College World Series. So College World Series, Coastal Carolina versus Arizona starts tonight, 3-game series. Follow me on Twitter, hashtag FetcherNews.com, hashtag CWS and FYNTV. Game time decision on who I call, right, Coach? There you go. Did anybody see the picture on the internet of the United Nations trucks rolling down the highway in Virginia, Interstate 81? Why do we have UN armored vehicles? Now, this has been on a lot of major websites. It's not conspiracy theory, folks. Interstate 81 in Virginia, UN trucks rolling down through there. Why? I don't know. Hey, London Bridge is falling down, right? London Bridge is falling down. That is... the one world order is coming apart at the seams, right? You know what Hillary Clinton is? Let me tell you what Hillary Clinton is before I get into my stories. Hillary Clinton is a train wreck. She's absolutely a train wreck. This woman is. There is not enough time in the day to break down Hillary Clinton's campaign. And the media is like the cops at the train wreck. So you get the train wreck, sadly enough. Okay, and then when you go to stop at a train wreck, an accident, and you have the police officers saying nothing to see here, move along, nothing to see. That's the media. We're going to talk about the polls, the ABC Washington Post poll. Donald Trump's down 12 points. The NBC Wall Street Journal, we're going to talk about that later today. Donald Trump's down 5 points. Trump was in Scotland. Obama's approval ratings at 56%. We're going to look at all that because here's an interesting poll I want to look at when George comes in at 9 o'clock. Okay? We're going to take from 9 to 10, and we're going to break all this down. The Brexit. You're hearing about Brexit. If you've been watching this show for the last 3 weeks, you haven't been hearing about it in the last you've been hearing about it here in the last month. But now it doesn't matter where you turn on the TV, you're hearing about the Brexit. But what you're hearing from the media is not the upside of the people exercising their free will, deciding they'd like to govern themselves. What you're hearing is political turmoil, chaos in Britain, buyer's remorse. Oh, they're already 3 days after, it's buyer's remorse. Stock markets are down, crashing. The financial markets are crashing all around you. Folks, this is the narrative that they're going to play for your election here in America. That's exactly right. You don't want to have buyer's remorse. I mean, about 2 weeks into before it's time in November, you're going to hear media say, look what happened in England. They've had buyer's remorse. They're going to go with this. Now, the globalist economy, you keep hearing the globalist economy. Hillary Clinton came out and said, we will stand with Europe, okay? Now, we can read the article in a minute, but it doesn't go into how we're going to stand. If you were to hear the media, it doesn't talk about we're going to stand with Great Britain, we're going to stand with England, we're going to stand with Europe, okay? They've switched to Europe. We're going to stand with Europe. That means the EU. Now, Bernie supporters need to know there's a reason why Trump told you to come on board. The best story to me today, for me today, in all of this that really sums a lot up is, Goldman Sachs is predicting a recession in Britain. That's what they're predicting, a recession in Britain, okay? But interesting enough, Goldman Sachs, a.k.a. King Henry Paulson. You remember King Henry? Henry Paulson told, he asked for $800 billion, to crash Lehman, save Goldman, do this, do that. He used the $800 billion to put his Wall Street the way he wanted it, the Federal Reserve the way he wanted it, and the World IMF the way he wanted it. He used your money. He has come out and endorsed Hillary Clinton. Interesting, huh? That says a lot. Supreme Court is set to make a major decision today on abortion clinics. We'll talk about that at the 9 o'clock hour. I want to hear, where is Hillary? I'd like to see Hillary in a lifeboat down in West Virginia with a life jacket on trying to save some people, okay? Hillary Clinton could go and talk about how she's going to destroy the coal mines. She's going to destroy the whole industry. They're going to put them all out of business. Where's Obama? Let's see, 20-some dead, and I don't want to miss the number. 20-some dead in this horrific, historical 500-year flood. What is it, not Orlando? Can we not get gun control out of a flood? Can we not? Rapid, raging waters killing people? Well, I'm for sure we could do a sit-in on the floor of the House, right? I'm for sure we could figure out something to stop these massive killings in tornadoes and hurricanes and floods. Something has to be done. Where's Hillary in her lifeboat and her life jacket going down through there saving West Virginians that she put out of work with her comments? We'll talk about that later. Folks, with everything going on, we're taking our eye off the ball. Illegals in our military, illegals crossing the border, refugee resettlement, we got our eye off the ball. At 8:30, I have the Joint Development Authority, the Greater Gilmer Joint Development Authority, right? Lonnie, am I saying that correctly? Do you have your mic on? I made a decision I'm not going to yell at you all week, Lonnie, I promise. Oh, yeah? No, all week. I'm going to go all week. I'm not going to yell at you. Mm-hmm. That's the decision I made. So I'm asking you nicely. Do you have your mic on?
Yeah, it's on.
All right, well.
I was just thinking.
Okay, director, at 8:30, Carla's going to be here. Carla and the new Greater Gilmer Joint Development Authority Executive Director, Debbie A. Sadler. I got that. They're going to be here at 8:30. And then at 9 o'clock, George is going to be here. And we're going to get into all these national issues, so you're going to want to come back. Now, look, I want to do it. This is going to be for all of you that tuned in this morning for what I call the indictment, Friday's indictment day. This is going to take days. Okay, this is going to take days. We're going to do about 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, hopefully every day. We're going to stay on this story. I'll tell you about it. We're going to stay on this story, but this is not going to be just a one-day, 45-minute segment, all right? You're going to have to keep coming back. We're going to go into bits and pieces with this so we could do it thoroughly, completely, and not mess it up. Now, first, I don't want to overshadow this top story. Put up this guy here. I didn't realize Christopher Mark Miller. I did not realize this guy had this many friends, okay? And I mean, this guy's got some friends. Hold on a minute here. I'm trying to find something. Stay with me. I put a post up. I didn't lose them, but I misplaced my other glasses. Don't say anything, Lonnie. I misplaced my glasses. Hang tight. Send me a message, 706-889-9700. Tell us what you think of our backdrop this morning. Tell us what you think of that. And, okay, now Christopher Mark Miller was arrested on 46 counts. This guy he's got a lot of friends, okay? This guy, transaction card fraud, financial, financial transaction card, identity fraud. This guy's got identity fraud. Christopher Mark Miller, I've got every count here, okay? And it details every one. Every single one. This is the indictment of the grand jury, okay? And this is the indictment of the grand jury for Christopher Mark Miller. That's one of them. Now, there was a total of 46 counts. Now they have the second one that the grand jury handed down, the state of Georgia versus Christopher Mark Miller, theft by deception, theft by conversion, theft by taking. I mean, he deceived, conceived, took. He robbed them blind, right? I mean, that's the only thing I can figure, right? I mean, there should be one on here. There should be one count, just flat robbed them blind, all right? Deception, theft by deception, theft by conversion, theft by taking, theft by deception, again, conversion, taking, deception, just on and on and on here are these counts. I have them all here, okay? We're going to get them all up. We're going to read them for you. Not today, but we're going to go through the counts here, and we promise we'll give you a full story. Again, that's Christopher Mark Miller. He is, my understanding, is still in the Pickens County Jail and has not been released, and there is no bond set for Mr. Christopher Mark Miller. They went over Friday, picked him up. He's in the big house now. He's in the jailhouse now. Right, Lonnie? Lonnie, I told you I wouldn't yell at you all week, but at least you could say okay or something, all right? I mean, I'm trying to work with you over here, all right? You actually did a pretty good job. By the end of the week, we'll try to get pretty good off there and just say good job. Okay.
I think by the end of the week, I'm going to try and get you into a green suit so you can be just another talking head.
Somebody said that to me yesterday. If I would just wear green, I would just, they would just see my head. And then, you know what that would be? That'd be a headshot, and I'm afraid of that. Okay, let's get Mr. Miller down there. Okay, now let's go into the next part before our 8:30. We got the door open so the ladies can get in this morning, Lonnie, or trying to stay calm, folks. Okay, now it's time for our feature presentation. And I don't know where to start. Now, this is going to take weeks because it's going to have, I'm telling you, this is going to have the FBI, the GBI, the JQC. This is going to have drinking, smoking, and running around. No, we'll just throw that in the story. I mean, it's like one of those Dateline stories. You know, you watch Dateline, right? You got to have some smoking and drinking, you know. No, just joking, just joking. Let's stay serious. Let's stay serious and focused on this, okay? But this is going to have, seriously, in the next several weeks, is going to have the FBI. Oh, absolutely. FBI is going to be involved. Okay. This is going to have the GBI. And this is going to have the JQC. This is going to have a thorough investigation. You're going to see a little bit of everything. Now, I was looking around town for Tommy Lee Jones because I heard the U.S. Marshals was in on this too. You like that movie, Lonnie?
Yes.
Okay, I thought I'd see Tommy Lee Jones in here and a couple helicopters. Our feature story this morning on the serious note, Mark Brennan Thomason and Russell Stuckey, his attorney. Now, Mr. Thomason is the publisher of the Fan in Focus, and Mr. Stuckey is his attorney. They were picked up Friday afternoon on Mr. Thomason is on 3 counts and Mr. Stuckey, his attorney, on 2 counts. Now, I'm going to use the word outrageous for a minute because this is why it's going to take weeks, because I was in the courtroom. I was not in the courtroom the day that Clark & Clark asked for attorney's fees to be paid by Thomason and Stuckey, or Thomason, Stuckey's client. And Judge Christen denied the attorney fees to be paid. This could get confusing. That's why this has got to be like every day for a couple minutes. So Judge Christen denied that the attorney fees be paid by Thomason to Clark & Clark. I'm not sure why. The attorney fees were paid to Clark & Clark by the court for the case against Rhonda Stubblefield, the court stenographer. Now let me explain something to you very quickly. Thomason opened a case claiming the transcript and the audio had been altered by Miss Stubblefield. He sued, the publisher of the Fan in Focus sued Stubblefield. Now, Stubblefield's a subcontractor, but she lends her services to the court for payment. But she is required to follow all the rules of the court. Here is what we don't want you to miss. Okay, this is not the reason they got arrested, but we want this to be the basis of the show, basis of the report, and the basis throughout the weeks. Thomason and Stuckey lost their case. They lost. Now they go around like some heroes. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if they weren't wearing superhero capes today, going around saying that they're here to save the day from corruption and the whole bad world. We got something wrong? Okay. So anyhow, I wouldn't be shocked at that. But let's stay clear. Thomason sued Stubblefield that was providing the transcript for the famous N-word case and made claims that it had been altered and the audio had even been lifted. I was in the courtroom for all of that. Every bit of that I was in the courtroom for. Okay, I heard every word of it. Now, what I'm asking Mr. Stuckey, if you happen to be watching this morning, I am going to ask and I'm going to pursue why the GBI has not released their findings from the audio. Mr. Stuckey stood up, and there's a court reporter there. This is all in transcript. And he said that he sent the audio to the JQC. This is not a quote because I'm not reading it, but here you can find this. That he sent the audio of this transcript to the JQC. They were so concerned, they sent it to the GBI for further review. So I'm looking at the camera this morning telling you, I want to see the GBI's report on that audio. Let's remember Stuckey and Thomason lost this case. All right? Now, Mark Thomason was arrested. They are going around saying the FBI is investigating. I don't like when people don't tell the truth. So let's just tell the truth, okay? Let's just get down to the brass tacks of it, okay? There's a group of people. I tell you what, let's just throw all the water out and start fresh. There's a group of people that absolutely do not like former Superior Court Judge Bradley. They just don't like the guy, okay? Now, those are kind words I'm using. But the truth is, they just don't like the guy. And now these are, I know some of these names, so we're going to leave some of them, we're going to leave names out right now, but they don't like the guy. So when they thought he may have done something that was inappropriate, their bells and whistles went off and said, oh, we got him now, we will destroy him. Well, there's a similar group. We're going to get to those, so you're going to want to tune in every day because I'm going to bust some names out that you're going to want to hear. There's a similar group that just don't care too much for Chief Superior Court Judge of the Appalachian Judicial District, Brenda Weaver. Now, I, for one, FetcherNews.com, we don't get too involved in the courts, and I'll tell you why. The court system in America, to me, is a disaster. Like Donald Trump said, it's a disaster. The court system in America. It is a major disaster. Go sit in a courtroom in a New York City, Washington, D.C., Philadelphia, Chicago. It's Atlanta, downtown. Major disaster. But it's not just the big cities. It's all the rural areas, most of the rural areas also. But it's generally not your local jurisdiction that is a disaster. It's the system itself. So within the system, you have some people that do a pretty good job. So the Appalachian Judicial Court System is not the worst court system in the entire state, okay? It's just not. And it's not a disaster. Could you go and look thoroughly through it and see some things you may not like? Yeah, because backlog and people getting arrested, but let's not get down that road. The point being is, FetcherNews.com, we not spent a lot of time in the last 6 years within the court system because it's just not something we think is news and anything shocking. And we would be the first. You have my commitment here. We would be the first to bring you a story if there's something concerning the court. And if anything in this matter was news, we will look into it and see. But let me say something now. Judge Brenda Weaver, because I've been to these. Judge Brenda Weaver brought drug court to this area. Drug court has done so well in the Appalachian community, Appalachian Judicial District, that Judge Weaver has, I think, made national presentations, major presentations. There's court systems all over the United States studying the drug court here. Does it have its bad sides? Does it have its issues? Absolutely, because it's things that have to get worked through. But for the most part, drug court has been a positive. Mental health court. Judge Weaver fought very hard. And a lot of other people helped. So I just don't want to give her all the credit. But that's not what I'm here for. Mental health court. Veterans court. I actually have been in meetings where I've heard discuss what Veterans Court is. So Judge Weaver has been highly involved in the Appalachian Judicial District in bringing in drug court, mental health court, Veterans Court. But what this lady needs to do, according to Thomason and Stuckey, is she needs to cash checks that are made to the court. Now, that's just the short of it, okay? So the idea was you got to bring down, you don't just stop trying to bring down Judge Bradley. You got to try to bring down Judge Weaver for paying the court costs. So that's it. Now, I'm going to read the counts because I'll come back to this every day. I'm going to read the counts on here, and I'm going to give you just a little brief understanding. Hey, Lonnie, could you have the conversation later? See, I made Lonnie a promise I wouldn't yell at him, and here he is. I mean, over here trying to distract me in the middle of a big story. Okay, now, here are the charges. Mark Thomason, I have it here in my hand, and this is going to be every day, folks. Mark Thomason and Russell Stuckey individually and as parties, like AKA, you know, oh, this is a Fannin cartel moment, isn't it? Parties grouped together for a common goal. Okay, Brandon Thomason and Russell Stuckey individually and as parties concerned in the commission of a crime, identity fraud, okay? Second count, Mark Brandon Thomason and Russell Stuckey individually and as parties, concerned in the commission of a crime, attempt to commit identity fraud. And then Mark went alone on this one. He was winging it on this one all by himself. Mark Brandon Thomason making a false statement. Now, for those of you out there today that are going to hear the rumors, so today is just rumor mill day, that Russell Stuckey, attorney Russell Stuckey and Mark Thomason are going to go out and make their, well, this is what would happen as soon as we expose the corruption. This is what would happen, okay? We expected this. We expected this. This is what would happen. Now, Russell Stuckey got out of jail. Russell Stuckey got out of jail, and he is the attorney for Mark Thomason. He goes on Facebook, and he goes on Facebook, and I'm going to read you what Mr. Stuckey wrote on Facebook. Went to jail. This is what he wrote. Went to jail. Fan in Focus is a local newspaper for that county and Blue Ridge. Mark Thomason is an investigative reporter who digs out and exposes corruption and has done a killer job unmasking thieves in high places. Do I have to read and enunciate certain things, don't I, Lonnie? He's unmasked the thieves in high places, okay? We got into a case where the judge used the N-word, and Mark was told by many the transcript had been altered. Those were the voices maybe inside his head that kept telling him the transcript been altered? Or would it be Robo, what was Robo's name, that is now in prison doing time that helped him hear the transcript had been altered? Okay, it's some of his friends. And Mark was told by many the transcript had been altered. Remember, these are Russell Stuckey's words, okay? My job was to get the audio for the testimony to see exactly what was said and by whom. We had 6 witnesses. Oh, folks, have you seen the witnesses? Okay, we have 6 witnesses that stated the transcript was altered. Didn't happen, folks. Didn't happen. The judge read the transcripts. They were all over the board. Nobody remembered it. They thought it didn't sound that way. Okay, didn't happen. Once we got to hear the audio, my job was done. Then Clark and Clark filed a motion for the attorney's fees, and the can of worms was open. Folks, let's stop. Stuckey is an attorney here. Remember, these are words from an attorney that represented Thomason that actually only knows Thomason's side. Stuckey's done no investigation himself. He only knows what this guy's side is that's coming out of his head. All right? Stuckey doesn't tell you he lost the case. Stuckey doesn't tell you that the judge said to him, Mr. Stuckey, I think you need to hear that audio again. He stood up in court and he said, Your Honor, we feel the audio has been lifted, and I don't need to hear it again. Judge Christian said, I think we need to go in my chambers, and we need to, with all counsel present and the court reporter, listen to the audio again. Mr. Stuckey said, I don't need to listen to the audio again. Judge Christian said, Counselor, I think you should listen to it again. Okay, so he doesn't tell you he lost. I proved it in court. Now, the can of worms is open, he says. I proved it in court, and that Clark & Clark now seeking over $20,000 for their work had already been paid from the fan and taxpayer funds. Need to understand, the fan and taxpayer funds would not have been used if Mark Thomason would not have sued the court reporter Rhonda Stubblefield and lost the case. Any funds that have been spent from a court report, from the taxpayers at all, is because he brought the suit. Stuckey came in and fought the suit. They lost. They cost the taxpayers the money. Nobody else. Not Brenda Weaver, not Rhonda Stubblefield, not Judge Bradley. Mark Thomason costed the taxpayers the money. That needs to be understood, okay? Fan and taxpayers nailed them. He said, we nailed them. Really? You didn't nail them, you lost. Russell, are you listening? You lost. Mark Thomason and I were warned. They were warned. Listen to this, folks. This is whacked. They're out here. All right, Mark Thomason and I were warned our lives were at risk. I got to watch my back, Lonnie. Am I still in a position where I can fall off the hill in downtown LOJ and get hurt?
Yeah.
Okay, stay there. Okay, we were warned our lives were at risk, and most certainly our freedom. I got to do this in a play. This needs to be Stuckey the musical, Lonnie. Could you help me write this?
Yeah.
Our lives were at risk, and most certainly our freedom. Let freedom ring. We were arrested Friday and hauled off to Pickens County and spent the night. We bonded out today, Saturday, made it home in time for lunch. Now, they made it home in time for lunch, but here's what I heard the breakfast conversation was. Sources tell me that Russell Stuckey and Mark Thomason were sitting at breakfast Saturday morning. This is what I hear. And they were talking. And Russell Stuckey looked over at Mark Thomason and said, you gonna eat your cornbread? That's what happened. Anyhow, we bonded out, okay? At no time were we treated badly by the officers, except for the food and sleeping on hard beds. It was an adventure. I had never won a case proving tax money was used to pay attorney fees for a person who was not even a Fannin County employee, and then I went to jail. Anyone knows anything about Georgia knows about Fannin County. Be that it may, I cannot think of a higher calling for any attorney than to stand for the truth with his client, Mark Thomason, the honorable people they are, even if going to jail is the result. I would do it again if needed be. I now have a new hobby. Folks, this goes on and on and on. He still accuses Judge Christian of messing the case up. He doesn't say her name by quote. He still says the audio was tampered with. These people are a joke. You're going to see the FBI. Now, let me say something. I got to go to close. I'm running 4 minutes late. I've got to get my next guest in here. But let me say something, okay? These aren't trumped up charges. Now, you can't read these, but these are all the witnesses the district attorney is prepared to call. All the witnesses. And they're not, let me say something, Mr. Stuckey and Mr. Tomlinson. Your 6 witnesses that prove that you say, your 6 witnesses that you say prove the audio was lifted or tampered with and the transcript was messed up, they don't match up to the witnesses on this sheet that say you guys committed these crimes. Now tomorrow, they're alleged. Tomorrow I will break down the charges and tell you what they are. You'll have to come back. We're going to do this every day. But these witnesses, a lot different witnesses on here than what you had, Mr. Stuckey. Mr. Stuckey, Mr. Tomlinson, I'm glad you're home safe and sound. May your life, I hope nothing happens. My God, I did not realize you were in such danger of life and limb and liberty and happiness and freedom. Let freedom ring. Okay, I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office, North Georgia's only live online morning show. I'll be back in about 4 minutes. I'm going to read a couple of our sponsors here this morning. Don't forget, Days Chevrolet, located in Jasper, 515. And down there in Jasper, Circuit World, promotional code fetchyournews.com in Circuit World. L&L Beanery, downtown Blue Ridge coffee shop, free Wi-Fi. Check it out today. Lonnie, I'm out of here.